We all like to think we're in the driver's seat of our own lives, right? Making these rational, logical choices from one moment to the next. But what if I told you that a huge part of your life, I'm talking about your relationships, your career, even the stuff you buy, is actually being guided by a hidden script? And this script, it wasn't written by logic. Nope. It was written by your deepest emotions.
I mean, really think about it. That little disagreement you had last night, that big purchase you just couldn't resist, even the way you manage your team at work, were those decisions 100% rational, or was there something else, something kind of deeper, tugging at the strings? Okay, let's really get into this.
So, there's this brilliant idea from behavioral science that helps explain everything. Our brains basically have two operating systems. You've got System 2, which is the one we think of as us. It's our slow, analytical, rational mind, the one that makes the pro and con lists. But then you've got System 1. That's the emotional brain. It's fast, it's subconscious, and it runs purely on gut feel. And here's the crazy part. It's pretty much always in charge. And the sheer scale of its influence is, well, it's staggering. Some research suggests that around 95% of our daily decisions are made by that fast, emotional System 1 brain. It's the silent partner making all the calls. Our rational brain, good old System 2, usually just pops in later to come up with a good story to justify what our emotions already decided to do.
So to really understand these hidden scripts, we're going to zoom out in 3 steps. And we're starting at the most personal level, ourselves. We're going to look at how our deepest insecurities write this really powerful and often pretty destructive script for our relationships, a script we call defensiveness.
And the stakes here, they could not be higher. This quote is from a real person, a client of a psychologist who was literally on the verge of divorce. And it wasn't because of some big dramatic betrayal. It was because of this repeating pattern, this hidden script of defensiveness that just made any real connection totally impossible.
So what exactly is it? Well, defensiveness is basically a coping strategy. When we feel like we're being criticized, it's how we protect ourselves. But instead of actually dealing with the issue head-on, we flip it and go on the attack. We try to shift that spotlight onto the other person's flaws, all to distract from that painful sting of our own. It's a total System 1 hijack.
Yeah, at its absolute core, when someone criticizes us, it can trigger this feeling of being small or weak or just not good enough. And defensiveness is that primal gut reaction to that feeling. It's a desperate attempt to feel powerful again when we actually feel really insecure, even if it ends up wrecking our relationships.
And we've all got our go-to moves, right? Ad hominem attacks. That's when you attack their character instead of their argument. Or dredging up the past. Oh, you know this one. Oh, you think I'm messy? Well, what about that time 3 years ago when you forgot to... See, that's the script. The silent treatment, or even gaslighting. These are not logical plans. They're emotional tactics written by our scared System 1 brain to protect our ego no matter what.
So, to put it simply, this whole deeply personal script of defensiveness, it's all driven by our System 1 brain's desperate need to not feel afraid and insecure.
And here's the amazing part. That exact same emotional driver, that fear, that insecurity, that deep-seated desire for safety is the fundamental challenge that every single brand, every product, every service in the world has to overcome to get us to trust them and, buy their stuff. So let's zoom out to our next level. We're going from the self to the marketplace. And you're about to see how those same emotional triggers don't just shape our love lives, they shape the entire global economy. This right here is basically the playbook that marketers use to talk directly to our emotional brain. Just look at these questions. Is this going to hurt my job or my reputation? That's a direct line to our need for safety. Will I look smart to my friends if I pick this one? That's our ancient tribal need to belong. These aren't logical calculations on a spreadsheet, right? These are deep, emotional, System 1 questions that are really making the decisions.
Pretty much every purchase we make has a mix of these 3 things going on. Yeah, of course, a product has to be functional. It needs to save us time or money. But the most powerful marketing, it connects that practical benefit to something emotional or aspirational. It doesn't just sell you automated reporting software, it sells you the feeling of confidence you get walking into a meeting already knowing all the answers. It's selling the person you want to become.
All right, let's zoom out one last time, all the way to the level of the organization. Because that same primal need for trust and safety, the one that drives our relationships and what we buy, is also the bedrock of a healthy, successful company. It is the ultimate script for great leadership.
And when that script of trust and integrity breaks down at the top, hoo boy, the consequences are catastrophic. Just look at the last decade or so. We've seen scandal after scandal, from banking to big tech to the car industry. These aren't just failures of spreadsheets and oversight committees. They're failures of psychology. They happen when you have a culture of fear, where the collective System 1 brain is just running scared. The damage to their money and their reputation is, well, it's massive.
So what does the right script look like? Well, ethical leaders live and breathe these traits: honesty, integrity, trust. Notice something? These aren't about being the smartest person in the room. They're all about creating an environment of psychological safety, a place where people feel respected and they trust that their leader is looking out for the community, not just for themselves. A great leader's job is to calm down everyone's collective System 1 fear so that the rational, innovative System 2 brain can actually get to work.
As the scholar Joanne Ciulo puts it, a good leader isn't just effective, they're ethical. Because real leadership, at the end of the day, isn't just about hitting your numbers. It's about the moral and psychological script you write for your entire organization. It's all about building trust.
Okay, so we've seen how these hidden scripts are working behind the scenes in our relationships, in the market, and in our companies, and they all come from the same place, those deep-seated emotional needs for safety and trust and belonging. So the big question is, what do we do about it? How do we take back the pen and become the author of our own script?
Well, this fantastic toolkit here is universal. Step 1 is just self-awareness, just noticing, there's that script again. Step 2, validate your fears. It's okay to feel that way, don't judge it. 3 is self-compassion. Just treat yourself like you treat a good friend. Once you've done that, you can clarify your values and decide how you really want to act. And finally, you can get proactive. Anticipate your triggers and start boosting your self-esteem by taking actions you're actually proud of. It's an amazing framework for hitting pause and choosing your response, no matter the situation.
So, this all comes back to you. We've all got these scripts. At home, at work, when we're shopping, they're just running on autopilot, quietly shaping our whole lives. But here's the thing, they don't have to be in control. Just by understanding the emotions that are driving them, you get the power to write a new one. So, the only real question left is, what hidden script are you going to rewrite first?